Not my best landing.
Hey, let's go!
What's up, people? As you can see, I am showing a comparison between the PC and PS4 versions of the Star Wars Battlefront beta. As I noted at the beginning of the video, the PC version you are looking at is running with everything on high settings. Another thing I would like to point out though is that even though the PS4 version's native resolution is 900p, we should consider that the game is still upscaled to 1080p as it is output from the console. It's also captured in 1080p, and this video is obviously rendered in 1080p. But regardless of that, you can still tell the difference between the native 1080p on the PC side and the upscaled 1080p on the PS4 side. Now the differences you will notice the most are in the backgrounds. When it comes to resolution, it's the depth and field of view that will showcase the best quality. As you can see, if you compare the foregrounds, they are virtually identical, but the further back into the distance you look, the blurrier the PS4 version tends to get, while the PC version with more native pixels on the screen is able to maintain an overall sharper image across the entire screen. After playing both of these versions, switching back and forth between the two, I find them to be very similar in terms of visuals. The PC version obviously has the upper hand in resolution, and that can clearly be seen in the screenshots and side-by-side comparisons, but the difference is negligible while actually in-game. There were a couple other small visual improvements I saw in the PC version over the PS4 version. The first thing is that while the sunlight on the PS4 version looks spectacular, I can't help but think that the PC version just overall has a slightly more natural looking sunlight. Maybe it's just me, but it does look more natural in my opinion. The other thing I noticed, which is better on the PC version, is the ambient occlusion. Now this is a subtle difference, but it's one of those things where if you know what to look for, then you can see it everywhere. And if you don't know what ambient occlusion is, it's basically the effect of the relationship between the light source and the objects in the environment. So it pretty much figures out which pixels in the image would be naturally blocked from the view of the light source by other objects in the image, and it determines how bright they should be. So certain objects will cast different types of shadows based on the light source, how it's hitting them, how strong the light source is, and all these other variables that could possibly affect the appearance of the shadows themselves. So having high ambient occlusion is basically more true to life shadows. And again, even though it's a subtle difference, there's definitely an advantage on the PC side here. Come to think of it actually, the advantage in the ambient occlusion is probably most likely the reason why the sunlight looks more natural on the PC version. And I don't know why I didn't think of that before, but yeah, that would explain why the sunlight looks more natural on the PC side. It's all due to the ambient occlusion. Now, I just want to point this out. This does not mean there is no ambient occlusion on the PS4 version. It's definitely there. It's just not as strong or as prominent as it is on the PC. So, as you watch this side-by-side comparison of some Hoth gameplay, I want you to try to notice any differences between the two, and go ahead and leave me a comment below if you find any huge differences. Whether it's in the foreground, the background, the resolution, the lighting, the shadowing, I just want to, see what you guys can find. But that's going to be it for this comparison video. So thank you all for checking it out. That's it for me for now. I'm Vile Self. Later, villains.